Guys, grab a drink and join me. I'm going to show you how this week I won a house at auction for £94,000. It's worth around about £130,000, £120,000 on the AMV, and I'll go into what an AMV is in a minute. I will, in this video, show you step by step how to win houses from auction, what to look out for. Watch till the end, and I'll even reveal my personal tips and tricks on how I win houses and don't overpay for them. Let's get into it. So there it is, guys, just behind me. That's the property we got. Pretty good deal, as I said. Nice street. I'll just show you, walk you around. Right, guys, I buy that many houses for clients and myself that have been flipping filming the wrong house, right? So I've been pointing at that house. I'll just show you, right? I've been pointing at that house behind the red car, and it's actually this house where I'm bang outside. I thought I didn't recognise it. Right, that's it. It's exactly the same, actually. UPVC, etc. By that many houses, I didn't know. And then I thought it was that end terrace, and I thought, oh, I've got a bargain there, because end terraces, I prefer end terraces, because if we do the HMO, we have less neighbours to deal with, etc., and it's just easier. Guys, I just drove off, came to the end of the road, and there's a bloody hospital at the end of the road. Warrington, and I'm just reading it now. Warrington and L Teaching Hospital. Can't even read that. Guys, it's literally 2 minutes walk. 1 minute walk from the house. Not even that, to the actual hospital entrance. That's amazing. Guys, being honest with you, I didn't know. I don't do much due diligence when I'm buying properties for myself. I do slightly more for clients, but I literally did not know there was a hospital there. I thought it was a bit weird that it was off the main road and there's loads of cafes and stuff, and it wasn't city centre, but there's literally a hospital there. I have been buying properties since I was 18, and I've always made money on properties, whether it's for myself, clients, family, etc. When I've invested in other stuff, crypto in 2020, or other businesses I've tried, I've never ever made money. I've always broke even or lost money and gone, that's why I do property. And every time I do buy a property, I seem to literally, I think it's a gut feeling I get, but I always hit the nail on the head. And it always surprises me how good a deal I get. And people go, how did you get that deal? And genuinely, I think it's just experience and my gut feeling, because it already knows the answers. And I cannot believe it that I thought this was a good deal. I've got a really good deal, and now the deal's got 10 times better because there's literally a hospital there. I'm going to turn it into HMO. It's full. So guys, I literally bid for a house at the airport last week. I don't win every house I go for. Okay, that's the one thing I want to say. I don't get, most of my stock is not from auction. Auction's really good to sell stock if you're a trader, but a lot of the times it's Holmes and Hammer syndrome, where people overpay for stock that needs refurbing. So bear that in mind. You can't just make loads of money buying from auction. A lot of the time you'll overpay. There'll be novices in the room, which we don't want on this channel. None of my clients do this. But you've got to be really careful that you don't get carried away and outbid something and underestimate the refurb, and you make little to no money, and it's not even worth the stress of buying from auction. So bear that in mind. But there's certain properties, guys, where it's absolutely great to buy from auction, and one of them, as I've said in many videos before, is tenanted properties. So this one was actually a tenanted property. There was no viewings. I saw it last minute, and I just bid for it at the airport, as I said, and I'm going to go into how I had the confidence and how I knew what I was doing to even bid without viewing, and how I got a great deal. So, first of all, you need to ignore the guide price, guys. Okay, so I get it all the time in my private groups, etc. Mentees send me links and they go, oh, it's on for 50k guide price at auction. Another house around the corner is 120. I'm going to make 50k profit. I'm like, guys, the guide price is put there, because I sell properties in auction as well, so I know very well how it works. You put a low guide price to get as many eyes on the property, as many people in, thinking they're going to get a deal, and they outbid each other, you only need 2 people to get into a bidding war, and you've already beaten your reserve price. So ignore the guide price. And yes, they do say that a guide price is 10%. The reserve price is 10% in range of the guide price because of trading standards. Not every auction house keeps to that. If I'm selling loads of houses with auctions companies that I know, they don't stick to that. Just to let you know, yes, it is trading standards, but bear that in mind that sometimes the guide price, the reserve price, is not 10% over the guide price. So bear that in mind. But the other trick is, if you put a guide price of 25 grand and the house is worth 100 at auction, you're going to get 50 people viewing, all bidding against each other. 2 people are going to get carried away. You're going to get maybe 10k more than it's worth. And I've done that many times as a seller. And I've got mates who trade. I supply traders with properties to put in auction. So just bear that in mind, guys. Ignore the guide price. It has no relevance, really. What you need to be doing, the first thing is if you see a property at auction or listed on Rightmove, by the way, guys, they all go on Rightmove, so you need to look at the valuations, comparables, and the automatic valuation, the desktop valuation. So what you do is you don't get a surveyor to go around because you're using your own money. They won't give you access anyway. You're losing your own money to pay for a survey. But what you're doing, and I'll talk about surveys in a bit when I get further on in this video, but what you're doing basically is having a quick look on a valuation site on the internet and seeing what it's worth. What it's worth if it's in a bad condition, what it's worth on the open market, but typically what it's worth now. So if it needs a small refurb, you need to value it now, not after the refurb, because you're going to underestimate how much, all the time, even I do it, how much you're going to spend on the refurb. So have a look at the comparables. If there's loads of sold prices, loads of sold houses, and you've got the prices and you can work it out. So this one, I know there's comparables for 130, 125, 130 all day long. So I know if I get it for anywhere around 110, which I thought I'd get it for 110, right, it's a good deal still. Because looking at the pictures, there wasn't that much work that needs to be done. So you need to be looking at comparables. So guys, you got your comparables, make sure there's more than one. And the reason why I say that is, if you're funding a property, or even if you're buying it cash, and there's no comparables, it's very hard to do anything, to remortgage it, to resell it, to do anything, because a buyer, unless it's like a big block and there's obviously not going to be comparables, or a 30-bed HMO, a normal house with no comparables or recent comparables is going to be very hard to value and very hard to put a value on. So I'd stay away from that kind of stuff. But if you're buying the average house in a big city, you know, where I bought in the Northwest, for example, Liverpool, Manchester, you're always going to have comparables, okay? And if there's not one on the same street, because let's be honest, maybe a lot of people haven't sold recently in the same street, you look in 0.5 mile radius, and that's the limit. I will not go above that for comparables. And I want it in the last 2 years. I don't want it pre-COVID, although you can make a judgment because obviously prices have gone up. I want it in the last 2 years roughly, because that's what mortgage lenders go off. Or what I want is agreed sales now that are going through on land registry, and in 6 months time it will be on land registry. So agreed sales now, SSTC, sold subject to contract. So that's what I want to see, and you can see all that for free, guys, on Rightmove. So there you are, free information. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that. So you've looked at that and you've gone, okay, well, the house is guided at 80, it's worth 125, I might pick it up for 115, what next? Do I bid? No, you don't. What problems to solve? Guys, a house that's ready for a first-time buyer and is ready to move in and it's all done nice, like the house I'm sitting in now, is never going to be put on auction, guys. One, the auctioneer will say it's not going to get its best price. And two, the bidders, the trade bidders or whatever, the professionals, are not going to bid on it, because you don't typically put a house in an auction which you can sell through an estate agent to first-time buyers, etc. Unless you're desperate, unless the person selling it desperate, but it's usually sold well before that if it's good stock. So what problems do you need to solve? So let's go back to this. Let's go back, and 1 second, I'm going to record the screen for you. So, the most important thing, so you, look, legal park. Okay guys, so, You've watched A Homestead and a Hammer, and you've seen that the most important thing is to view the property. Guys, I bought loads of properties from auction, without auction, under auction conditions, without viewing. That is not the most important thing. Learn it here in this video today. The most important thing is the legal pack, and I'm going to show you why. So you log in, I'm going to find out what problems we need to solve. So, we've got a list of documents which you can never bid on. Obviously, common sense, never bid on a property without a legal pack. I don't think you can anyway. But here's a legal pack. So what was the problem I needed to solve here? Right, this property, and it's what I specialise in at the moment, was sold subject to a tenancy, and it puts a lot of landlords off and a lot of buyers because you can't get someone who wants to flip it. And it obviously would have got more if it was vacant, but you can't get a doer-up, a Homestead and a Hammer style. You're inheriting somebody else's tenancy. You can't choose your own tenant, so that's the problem I need to solve. And I do this all the time, guys, because I'm picking up properties now well below market value. As I said, this was 94k. That doesn't even need work, but what it needs is I need to solve the problem. So, now, how did I get a deal for 94k and make that much money, say it's worth 130, when everyone had the same information? Surely there's another person who's thinking exactly the same as me, will bid each other, and there won't be like, what, people work for 10k profit these days, or even 5k some people, especially in property. You know, people work for 5k, it's unbelievable. Well, there's always something in auctions, and if you're the first to find out, and if you talk, and if you know what you're doing, and you know the agents or the auctioneers like I do, you'll always, sometimes, not always, but you'll sometimes find out stuff that other people don't have, even though in this day and age everything's on the internet. Now, when I started, when I was 19, 20, 21, looking at auctions, I actually bought my third property from auction, and I'll put a screenshot now, and that was a bloody bargain, and that was after auction actually. You'll always find little gems out, and it'll be slipped, and other people won't know it. So on this one, the whole tenancy agreement, I'm going to show you now, okay, was redacted. And what that means is, guys, you couldn't see, let's have a look where the tenancy agreement was. Frozen, okay, copy lease, redacted AST. Here we go, click on that. As part of the legal pack, it's going to open. Lot 5 redacted AST, and you're going to see exactly what happened and why there was only like another person bidding on it. Right, guys, look at that. So someone in their infinite wisdom has uploaded this tenancy agreement without a name of the landlord. Name, that's fine, they'll never show that. Okay, you can see it's got a guarantor, so that's good. The term. So you don't know if you're bidding on a property that's got a 5-year tenancy, 10-year tenancy, it started in 1970, it started to know the rent, it could be £1, you don't know anything else because some person has redacted, and it's the solicitors who don't understand GDPR probably, they've redacted the whole tenancy agreement. So literally there was no point uploading that. Safe to say there was a tenancy agreement, but what I'm saying is, what is the point of uploading a tenancy agreement which you don't know the terms of the tenancy, right? So obviously I'm not a massive risk taker at the moment because I've got other projects on. Now I could have bought this blind as to the tenancy, and what might have happened is I get the tenancy agreement and it's 10 years and I can't sell it for 10 years. Well, there was no point buying that for 94k then, because I want my money out. The way we make money on this channel is we take our money out and fund the next deal, and we do 10 deals a year, etc., and turn it into HMO, right? Or give it social housing. So how am I going to do that if there's a 10-year agreement? How do I even know? So what do I do, guys? So I pick up the phone, I ring the auctioneer, I get through to the right person. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get to someone who wants to finish the day and just goes, oh, it is what it is, I don't know anything, bye. I got through to the right person. Oh, Mr. Samichetti, we know it's a rolling contract, and it's actually, so it was a certain amount of term. I think it was 12 or 24 months. No, sorry, I'm wrong on this one. I'm thinking of wrong house. So this one, the tenant's been there for 5 years. It's now on rolling. That term's expired. Is it definitely rolling? Yes, it's definitely rolling. Okay. So I know now, and it's recorded calls, I know now it's a rolling contract. If I buy it on that basis and it turns out to be inaccurate, and I've been advised that it definitely is on a recorded call, I'm going to trading standards and I'm not completing the sale.
Okay, so that's how I mean, be careful, make sure the call's recorded, make sure they're not just saying it or I think, make sure you can really hold their word to it. But basically on this one, it was still a slight risk because she could have been wrong and they could have got out of it somehow, but definitely rolling. There seems to be a pretty good tenancy agreement with a guarantor, pretty solid. Guys, don't buy anything without a tenancy agreement at all. Never buy a property without a tenancy agreement unless it's vacant, obviously, but if you're buying a tenancy property, make sure it's got an agreement. So other people who bid on this property have downloaded a legal pack, and I'm assuming, because I asked how many people called, said I'm the only person who asked it. I worded it different. I said, oh, as many people had the same problem. I said, no one's asked me about this before. So someone's downloaded it, and they've not asked a question. So they're bidding and they're thinking, well, I'm taking a risk here because I don't know the terms of the tenancy, but I already know the terms. So that's why I could pay that bit more, and that's why the price was suppressed. So if the other person or the 5 other people had all got through the same person, got all the same information, that price could have gone to 110 because you would have still made 15k profit. Now, that happens not all the time, but more times than you think, guys. It's just that extra communication. It's like knowing the agent, knowing the situation, and coming back to, as well, the legal pack. So another thing I like to check for in a legal pack to minimise my risk and to put a stop loss in place, right? So I'll put it down here. Backup plan, stop loss. So when I'm assessing the backup plan and the stop loss is basically protecting my capital. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm checking. Let's have a look. By the way, I also asked who was selling it. The way I word that is it a corporate sale, which means basically a repossession or company, and it's not a landlord who's start bothering about how much they get, or is it a landlord? And if it's a landlord and a private landlord, you've also got to ask, why is the landlord selling it? Because landlords are greedy. So why is he putting it in auction? Why is he not selling it to a mate? Why is he not putting it on Rightmove? Why is he not giving it to an agent? Because no landlord's going to just sell something 30 grand below market value for the sake of it. So always be careful. So I always check who's selling it. So if we go on to here, you'll see the official copy register. Click on there, and I can't remember if they redacted it, but we'll have a look. But again, guys, I got this information over the phone anyway before, but we'll see if it's on here. Okay, so here we are. Here are we on an official copy of title register. So we can see that it was bought in 1972. We could see, now this is really, really crucial. Okay, so we could see that in 2008, the proprietor bought it, and there's a charge on it on point 3, restriction no disposition on the registered estate by the proprietor of the registered estate without written consent of Capital Home Loans Limited. Okay, in 2008. What that means is there's a mortgage on it or a second charge and borrowed money against it. What that means is the house has been more than likely 9 times out of 99% it's been surveyed. So you know it's all right structurally from that. Okay, so I always look for a charge. Now, if it's as I said, if it's a landlord selling it, there's no mortgage on it, and he's putting it in auction, it's a red flag, and it's a higher risk. So the stop loss has to be greater. On this one, it's got a mortgage on it or a second charge from Capital Home Loans. It was bought in 2008, so the landlord's not bought it last year and suddenly flogged it. So the more favourable this legal pack's looking, the more I can pay for the property. Even though I didn't pay that much, I could have paid more. I think I was going to go up to like 115. So let's register charge, Capital Home Loans, okay. And then if you go on and keep looking at the legal pack, you can actually find out who's selling it by going on the pre-auction transfer order contract. So we'll just open that. As I said, it's not always in all these legal documents. The most important one is the one we've just looked at. But let's have a look at the transfer. If it opens, and it will say who's selling it. And this one was a repossession. So it was actually the asset manager who's selling it. Now, what have I done since? I've actually contacted the asset manager and gone, look, I'm buying a lot of property for myself and our fund, and if you've got any repossessions before you put them in auction, let us know, or let us, we can do something. So that's another source of trade price properties now, direct from the asset manager. So we're on the TR2, the transfer. Okay, transferor, Capital Home Loans Limited. So we're buying it from Capital Home Loans. So what does that mean? It means there's a repossession. Okay, now sometimes you'll see these through estate agents, and what happens? Yeah, it says receivers there. Okay, so it's obviously gone into receivership, and I've bought loads of these. Usually it goes with estate agents, and what will happen is you'll bid 94, and they have to by law publish it if it's not an auction. We've had the best offers of 94. If anyone wants to submit a higher offer, or 9 times out of 10, some person will submit a higher offer just to test the market. So I actually prefer it from auction because they can't do that. So that's a really important document, guys, in the legal pack. Pre-auction contract transfer. Okay, just go off this. Don't know why all these are opening. Right, so we've looked at two things. We've looked at who's selling it, the time of ownership, and another thing is, guys, the price is irrelevant. If they bought that for £10,000, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter to me if the original person or the receiver bought that for £10,000, even if it was like 5 years ago. It's irrelevant. We're looking at the price today, so don't be like, oh, they're scamming me because they got the house in 2008 for £10,000 and now they're wanting to go over 100k from it from auction. I'm not buying it. Good luck on that, because you're not going to find a house for £10,000. That's the whole point of buying properties and holding it. Okay, because the same thing's going to happen to you. You're going to buy it for 94k, which I bought it for. It's worth 130. If I put it back in auction vacant and someone pays 130, they haven't lost out on the difference. It's just the profit moves up the chain, down the chain. So just be aware that the price of the purchase is irrelevant. And I bought properties before where traders have got it for half price and I bought it. So it doesn't really make a difference, guys. Don't be that person who's like, oh, I'm not buying it because they got it for cheaper. All that matters to you is what it's worth today with a valuation. And there's ways, my clients contact me and I can even get it valued as a bank value without even paying for it. So that's what we do. Then there's other things you need to check. The EPC is not too important. Most of the stuff on the auction pack you can get indemnity for it, like UPVC windows. Have they got a certificate for this? Have they done that? All of that is not really relevant. You can get indemnity insurance for everything. It's about £30 per policy. So you do need to check the lease, but again, leases are usually fine. Get the mining report will be on here as well, so you'll know if it's below a mine. Now, guys, you don't really need to go inside. If it's got a charge on it, if it's got a mortgage on it, that's all been checked before. So really, I've already scanned this legal pack now, and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to bid on this. All this is ticked. My stop losses are 115. Now, I need to check point number 5. I need to make a decision. Like I said, 115k, I'm going to go max. And I'm going to bid. What's my backup plan? So my backup plan is, I'll get the property, I don't want it anymore, how am I disposing of it? It's in a very, very in-demand area. So this property is not on the north coast of Wales or Scotland, where there's limited people where you can trade it on. If my situation changes, I can resell it, I can bang it back in auction, I can give it to an estate agent. There's all sorts of things, but you need to think about what is your backup plan. Okay, so if I was paying £1 million for a property in London and it was worth 1.3, on the face of it, that's a good deal. But if anything goes wrong, how are you going to get the £1 million back? There's going to be less people who want to pay for it. This property, even if I paid 115, I could get rid of it for 130. I could get 115 back. So you need to have a backup plan. Or you could let the tenancy ride. Say you can't evict the tenant, or you can't put the rent up. Is it sustainable at that level? Yes, because I'm going to get all my money back. So that's what I'm talking about, having the stop loss and backup plan. Guys, I work with clients all the time. Not so much buying properties from auction, but we supply a lot of clients with properties, specialise in sourcing properties below market value. Usually they're not under a time constraint because this is a 20-day completion. Most of our properties go through in 1 month to 2 months, and we get it from cash buying companies, etc., direct to vendor. So guys, yes in the comments, and I'll actually DM you my free property investment guide so you can see the kind of deals we're doing and we've done for clients and ourselves. I'm probably one of the only people in the industry who's teaching what I do and doing what I say. As you can see, this is live with proof of me bidding, proof of me outside the house. I'm actually buying these properties myself. I'm not just talking and teaching you and trying to sell you a course. I'm doing this day in, day out. If you're lucky enough to work with me, you'll know the kind of deals we get. But back to the video, guys. So what we need to do now is we need to bid. So you can bid from anywhere. You've got one of these, you can bid from anywhere, guys. Get bidding. So you can make a bold decision, you're going to bid. Guys, a little gem for you now. We're halfway through the video. Thank you for watching this far. And a little gem for you now is do not use proxy bids. And what that means is, like eBay, you can put your maximum bid. If you put your maximum bid on an auction, the auctioneer can, because I've sold properties in auction where people have put maximum bids. What does the auctioneer do? The auctioneer is legally entitled to bid up to that maximum bid, even if there's no other bids at that level. So if I put my prime example, if I put my maximum bid at 115, I wouldn't have got this property for 94k. I would have got it for 115k because it would have gone up to the proxy bid. Not all auctioneers will tell you this, not all auctioneers do this, but I know at least 2 auctioneers which I sell property to through. So it's a different auctioneer who do this. So never put that. Don't be lazy, manually bid. And I manually bidded for this, and that's how I won it. And I was even at the airport, I was manually bidding. Don't be lazy, guys, okay? People want to make loads of money in property, and it's very easy to do, but people want to be lazy. People don't want to ring up, people don't want to drive past the property, people don't want to take a risk, people don't want to do any work. You know, as to the point where they just set a proxy bid. Don't do it, guys. I've been in this game long enough. I've bought properties after auction when they haven't hit the reserve. I've bought properties before auction. I've bought properties from auction. And I'm telling you now, all these tips will make you a profitable trader or a profitable buyer. Because remember, guys, you make money when you buy property. So you don't make it when you're selling it. It doesn't matter what you do to the property. You can put a swimming pool in it. It doesn't matter. If you haven't bought it from the right price, you're not going to make money. And conversely, if you buy it from the right price, which I have, or I always do for myself and clients, you're always going to make money. It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter if I don't do anything to it and the tenant stays. And I messed up the tenancy agreement and I read something wrong. It doesn't matter. I got it for 94. It's worth 130. I'll remortgage all my money back out. I'll go again. Okay. So do not use proxy bids. And another thing is make sure you've got your funding in place, which goes back to the valuation. So if I know that the property on conservative estimate is worth 120 or 130 and I'm bidding up to 115, I'm pretty sure a lender or bridging provider who we work with is going to fund that with minimal deposits. Now, if I'm bidding 130 and it's worth 130 and it's got a tenancy and I haven't seen it inside and it looks a bit like it needs a liquor paint, it's going to be harder to fund, guys. I might have to put more money in. So always remember to sort your funding. Now, if you're buying through, if you're one of my clients or you're like myself and you buy, you'll already know that you can get funding. That's one of the first things that we do. We make sure the funding's in place, whether that's bridging loan, private money. Typically, most of my clients use bridging loan, bridge to let, where you get this, you remortgage all your money out and you get it straight on a buy to let product. So make sure that's in place before you bid. The other thing is, guys, make sure you've got a good solicitor and make sure you work fast, because this is a 20-day completion. So asset managers, they like speed. They've got thousands of repossessions or properties for sale, even traders. They want speed. They want to get on to the next deal. So if you can move fast, you've got your deposit, your funding, you've done all this, you can do it in 20 days. You've got a good solicitor, you're going to get a deal. Money likes speed. So the faster you are, the more speed you work by. So guys, that is how essentially you buy properties from auction. Ignore the guide price, get the comparables, what problems do I need to solve, look at the legal pack, start working your way around start noting down problems and how you're going to get around it. Make sure you've got a stop loss and what is that stop loss. The legal pack is the most essential, guys. If you need further tips on reading legal packs, become one of my clients. But no, seriously, guys, yes, in the comments we'll send you our free property investment guide. It doesn't go into the legalities of it, but it gives you a good overview. But you need to be reading legal packs. You can't be bidding on stuff without it. And I'll tell you why as well. When I sell a property and I throw a property into auction, sometimes I put 5k in the legal pack for my fees, my solicitor fees, and it's obviously exaggerated. It doesn't cost me 5k to use my solicitors, right? What it does there is that it boosts my profit up. So if I break even, and there's traders who do this, by the way, another golden nugget. There's some traders who'll buy a property and sell it in another auction for exactly the same money. But what it is, in a legal pack, they're making 5k and they're doing it 10 times and they're making 50k an auction. So if you don't read the legal pack, or if you skim over it, you're not going to see the 5k that you have to pay the seller. So again, make sure it's in the stop loss. Now on this one, I didn't read the legal pack properly for 2 hours. I was at the airport. But my thinking was on this, even if there's a 5k fee to pay, it'll bring my stop, it was still well below my stop loss at 115 because I paid 94, and I actually thought there was a 5k fee. There isn't, but I would have brought it up to 101, 102k, plus the auctioneer fees, 105k. I'm still 10k below my 115k stop loss. But if you read the legal pack properly for 2 hours, you will know what fees there are to pay. And traders rely on people either underestimating the property and what they need to do to it, or simply not even reading it properly, guys. So always read a legal pack. Who's selling it, time of ownership, price is relevant. It doesn't mean you can't buy off traders, by the way, when I put who's selling it. It means more of what's the situation with the seller. And this applies for if you're buying a property on the open market and Rightmove. What's the situation? Because from there you can gauge what you should offer. Okay, if it's someone desperate, if they're going through a divorce, if they're just testing the market, you're wasting your time because they're likely to withdraw the sale. If they're a trader and they want to make a quick 10k, we know that, right? We can still buy it. Time of ownership, price is irrelevant, as I said. Make a decision and bid. Don't go over your bids. Don't use proxy bids. Make sure your funding's in place. And that's it, guys. And if you want to sell properties in auction, the same is true. Selling properties in auction, I might do another video on this as a volume game. So most of my traders who I supply, they throw 7 to 10 properties a month in auction. Some of them they'll lose. Some of them they'll win. Overall, they'll be up 50k. Plus another 10k in fees. So it's a pretty profitable business. But what I prefer to do is, and as I said in one of my sayings, is you can eat steak once or have milk for life. So what I prefer to do is buy these properties, remortgage my money back out, turn this into a HMO, and live and add that £1,500 or £1,000 a month profit to my portfolio. In 3 years, remortgage it again, because where we're buying properties going up all the time in the northwest, this is in Warrington, going up all the time, non-Article 4 at the moment, so I can continuously profit from these properties. If you're a trader, you could throw this back in and make 30k, but I prefer to have that money back out, leave that 10k in, £1,500 a month profit, and build till 100k a month. As I said, this is my goal for this year. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. There's going to be some live footage of the property, and now you've watched the end of the video, you'll also see where the property is and how I've been buying property for over 15 years, guys, and I never lose a property, and sometimes I don't even do the amount of checks that another person does, and I still come up trumps. And you'll see on this one how good the location is, which I didn't even know till I actually went the other day, and I was filming the YouTube video, and I actually went and thought, bloody hell, there's a hospital across the road. You'll see it now. Let's get it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Do me a favour, I'm giving you all this knowledge, just at least like it. It'll make me more able to bring you bigger and better videos, and share it with friends if you want. Yes, in the comments if you want our free property investment guide, and speak to you soon. Let's get it.